All right, well, hey everyone, I am back with another 40 OS tip, and today we're going to look at the ISDB, or Internet Service Database. Now, to look at the Internet Service Database, we're going to click on Policy and Objects, Internet Service Database, and now we see a very large database of popular internet services. And these individual ISDB objects are groups of public IP addresses, ranges of IP addresses, ports, protocols, and all of this data comes from FortiGuard and is regularly dynamically updated. So let's say I wanted to create firewall policy that allowed access to Office 365. Office 365 is a popular internet service. And so if I look it up, I can see there's an ISDB object for Office 365. If the IP addresses for Office 365 ever changed, they would be dynamically updated, and my firewall policy would stay up to date because I'm using this object, right? So I don't have to keep track of all of the IP addresses for Office 365 on my own and manually update when changes are made. Using the ISDB database does that for me, right? Maybe I want to create a firewall rule for Salesforce, or create a firewall rule allowing access to Gmail. I can use the ISDB database for these popular internet services. Now, another cool thing about the ISDB is there are objects for places where maybe I wouldn't want my users to have access to, right? So if I look up botnet, for example, there's an ISDB database object here for botnet CNC servers. So all of the known bad botnet CNC servers are here in this database entry. So I could create a firewall rule denying access to that. And I actually think it's a best practice to add some of these ISDB objects into a group, which we then create firewall policy to deny access to. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's click on Internet Service Group, and then I'm going to click Create New. And for the purposes of what we're doing, let's create an outbound internet service group. I'm gonna say ISDB block bad outbound. The direction is going to be where the ISDB object is the destination. And then let's click on members. So some ISDB objects that you might want to add in here would be botnet, right? We already talked about that. Botnet CNC server. There is a group for known malicious servers, right? Malicious servers. There is a group for hosting, bulletproof hosting. And this is just known hosts where there's no, it's kind of the Wild West, right? Known hosting services out there where folks could host malware or something malicious, right? So we definitely want to have that in our list. So hosting, or bulletproof hosting, phishing servers, spam servers. Maybe I want to add known proxy servers. I probably don't want access to Tor nodes. Blockchain, for example, and maybe anonymous VPN. So these are the ones that I would commonly add to this block bad outbound ISDB group. All right, so I'm going to click on OK. And now I've got this internet service group called ISDB block bad outbound. And then I've got these members which are various ISDB objects that I've added. So let's go ahead and add it to some firewall policy. I'm going to click on firewall policy and then create new. And the action is going to be deny. And we're just going to call it ISDB block bad outbound. And this is outbound traffic, so I'm going to select my internal zone, and then my outgoing interface would be my outside zone, right? So from inside to outside. Source would be anything or all. And then the destination, I'm going to click on the drop down here and select Internet Service. And then I'm going to use the Internet Service group or Internet Service Database group that we created before, ISDB block bad outbound. We want to log violation traffic so that when this rule is hit, I get entries in my logs. Let's go ahead and click OK. Now I want this rule to be hit first, right? So let's make this the first rule that's hit. And so now, if any of my internal users or internal devices try to reach any destinations that are members of these ISDB objects that we've added, it's going to be blocked. Now, another good practice is to not only have an outbound rule, but also have an inbound rule using these same ISDB objects, these known bad ISDB objects.